Welcome to Propeller Breeze, the show for student pilots, sim fans, and everyone chasing that first solo and beyond. All information in this podcast is for entertainment and general knowledge only. Always verify with certified flight instructors or regulatory authorities before attempting anything mentioned here.
Okay, so you know when you're in the cockpit, maybe practicing landings, and you get really close to the runway?
Yeah.
Have you felt that weird sensation, like the aircraft just stops wanting to go down or keeps floating and floating, eating up runway?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's like
Oh.
hitting an invisible cushion or something.
Exactly, a cushion. I remember back when I was training, it definitely caused a few moments of, wait, what? What's going on here?
It's super common. And you're right, it's not just a feeling or some random gust. It's actually a core aerodynamic thing happening.
Yeah.
It's called ground effect. And honestly, every student pilot aiming for that PPL really needs to get their head around it. It's fundamental.
Okay, so that's what we're doing today. We're going to dive deep into this ground effect thing.
Thank you.
We want to break down, what it is, how it changes the way the plane flies, and crucially, what it means for you, the pilot, especially during takeoff and landing, those critical moments.
Exactly. We've sort of sifted through the info to pull out the really key bits. The goal is to make you feel confident about understanding and handling it.
Perfect. So let's get into it. This air cushion idea, what's actually happening with the air?
Right. So at its heart, ground effect is basically this air cushion forming when the wing gets really close to the ground, or even water.
Okay.
It's essentially the ground interfering with the normal airflow around the wing. It's not vague. It's a real, measurable aerodynamic shift.
And how does the ground interfere? Because normally air just flows around the wing, top and bottom,
Right.
in 3 dimensions.
Exactly. But when you get close, say within a few feet of the surface, that vertical part of the airflow, the bit going downwards, gets restricted. It can't go down as freely because the ground's in the way.
Ah, okay.
And this directly messes with 3 main things. The upwash, which is the air flowing up towards the front of the wing.
Mm-hmm.
The downwash, which is the air pushed down and back by the wing.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest one, the wingtip vortices.
Vortices, right? You sometimes see those swirling trails off the wingtips of big jets, especially in damp air.
Precisely those. While the tail and fuselage feel some effect, the main action, the big changes, are happening right at the wing.
Okay.
And the absolute key thing to grasp is this. If you hold a constant angle of attack, or AOA.
That's the angle the wing meets the air.
Correct. At a constant AOA, being in ground effect reduces that upwash, reduces the downwash, and significantly weakens those wingtip vortices. That weakening is the root cause of all the performance changes.
Okay, this is where it gets really practical, I think. How does weakening those vortices, having this cushion, change things like drag and lift and airspeed?
Yeah, this is the interesting part. The impact on drag is, it's pretty dramatic, especially induced drag.
The induced drag, remind me, that's the drag linked to producing lift, right? Worse at low speeds.
Exactly. High angle of attack, low speed, that's when induced drag really bites. Now, in ground effect, because those wingtip vortices are reduced, it actually changes how lift is distributed across the wing span.
So the wing works better, more efficiently, because it's not churning up all that air at the tips.
You got it. The wing becomes more efficient. Less swirling vortex means the effective angle the air meets the wing, the induced AOA is lower. And the direct result, a big drop in induced drag.
How big a drop are we talking?
Okay, the numbers really tell this story. It depends entirely on how close the wing is to the ground relative to its own wingspan.
Right.
So if you're flying at a height equal to your wingspan, say 36 feet up for a Cessna 172, the reduction is tiny, like 1.4%, hardly noticeable.
Okay, so not much effect way up.
But get down to a height of 1/4 of your wingspan, so about 9 feet for that Cessna.
Yeah.
The reduction jumps to 23.5%.
Wow, okay, that's significant.
And now get really close. 1/10 of the wingspan, so just over 3.5 feet off the deck. Induced drag is reduced by a massive 47.6%, almost half.
Whoa. Okay, nearly half the induced drag just vanishes when you're skimming the runway. That explains a lot.
It really does. That's why you feel it so strongly right before touchdown or just as you lift off. It's a very close proximity effect.
So less drag. What does that do for lift and power?
Well, because induced drag is slashed, it changes the whole equation. For the same amount of lift, the same coefficient of lift, or CL, you actually need a lower angle of attack when you're in ground effect.
Less nose-up attitude for the same lift. Sounds efficient.
Very efficient. Or look at it the other way. If you keep the same AOA as you enter ground effect, your CL actually increases. You get more lift for free, basically.
Okay.
The bottom line is, especially at low speeds, the total thrust you need, that's your parasite drag plus your induced drag, goes down significantly. You just don't need as much engine power to stay airborne.
The plane feels like it wants to float.
Exactly. And feels effortless.
Huh.
But there's that other thing you mentioned, airspeed indication.
Yeah, that sounded a bit tricky. What happens there?
This is a really important point, a potential gotcha. Because the airflow pattern is different near the ground, it can affect the position error of your airspeed system. Specifically, ground effect usually increases the air pressure right at the static source.
Static port, that little hole in the side of the fuselage.
That's the one. It measures the ambient air pressure. Your airspeed indicator and altimeter rely on that measurement.
Okay.
So if ground effect artificially increases the pressure at that static source, what do you think the instruments do?
Higher pressure. Would that make them read lower?
Exactly. Your indicated airspeed and your indicated altitude will read lower than your actual airspeed and altitude.
Wait a second. So I could be going faster or be higher than my airspeed indicator says I am when I'm in ground effect. That feels wrong and kind of worrying.
It is counterintuitive, isn't it? And that's precisely why understanding it is critical. The aircraft might actually be flying airborne at an indicated airspeed that seems too low, lower than it really is.
Okay, this has huge implications. Let's connect the dots. For a student pilot working on their PPL, what does this all mean when the wheels are about to leave the ground or just about to touch down? This is the practical stuff.
Absolutely. This is where theory meets reality and safety. Let's tackle takeoff first, because there's a common trap related to ground effect here.
I've heard instructors warn about taking off with a deficiency of speed. Is that linked to this? Because it sounds like ground effect is helping you, giving you a boost.
It is directly linked.
Oh.
And that boost can be deceptive. See, when you climb out of ground effect after takeoff, everything reverses.
Wow.
Suddenly, you need a higher angle of attack to get the same lift you had down low. That massive induced drag we said disappeared, it comes rushing back.
Right.
So the thrust required to climb increases significantly. It's like trying to climb out of thick mud after easily skimming over the top.
So all that free efficiency just vanishes. Poof.
Poof. Exactly. And sources also mention you get a decrease in stability, a tendency for the nose to pitch up slightly. And remember that static pressure thing?
Yeah, it gets back to normal.
Right. The pressure at the static port drops back to normal, which makes your indicated airspeed suddenly increase. So the speed that looked okay, maybe even a bit low near the runway, certainly jumps up, but the plane feels like it's struggling.
Okay, so scenario. Student pilot, the plane feels light, lifts off maybe a bit early, airspeed looks okay-ish, but it's actually ground effect fooling them.
Precisely. That is the hazardous situation we really need to highlight for PPL students. Because the drag is so low in ground effect, the plane feels ready to fly well below the proper takeoff speed. That's the deficiency of speed.
And the danger is?
The danger is you lift off with that deficiency, you feel okay for a second in the cushion, but as you try to climb out of ground effect, that sudden massive increase in drag hits you. Your climb performance might become marginal or worse.
So airborne, but barely climbing, just mushing along.
Exactly. And if conditions are bad, think high weight, hot day, high altitude airport.
Density altitude.
Yeah, right. That deficiency of speed might mean you get airborne, clear the ground effect, and then find you cannot sustain flight. The plane could just settle right back down onto the runway or off the end of it.
Wow. That is genuinely scary, flying on borrowed lift, like you said.
Yeah.
So the absolute #1 takeaway for takeoffs.
It is crystal clear. Never, ever force an aircraft airborne early with insufficient airspeed. Stick to the manufacturer's recommended takeoff speeds religiously.
They're not suggestions.
They're absolutely not suggestions. They are calculated to ensure you have enough performance to climb safely out of ground effect. And another key point, don't rush to retract gear or flaps. Wait until you see a definite positive rate of climb on your VSI and you're at a safe altitude. Respect the physics, use the numbers.
Got it. Respect the numbers. Okay, powerful safety lesson there. Now, flip side, landings. How does ground effect play out during the approach and flare? That's where everyone talks about floating.
Yes. The infamous float, definitely the most common way pilots experience ground effect during landing. It's almost a rite of passage.
Yeah.
As you descend into ground effect, holding a steady approach speed and angle, you get that increase in lift coefficient, CL, and the reduction in drag we talked about.
Right.
This combination directly leads to that feeling that the plane just doesn't want to land. It wants to keep flying. And if you carry it even a little bit of excess speed into the flare.
Oh.
That reduced drag means the plane won't slow down like you expect when you reduce power. You end up floating, sometimes for a considerable distance down the runway.
Using up runway you might need. That explains why instructors hammer airspeed control on final approach.
They absolutely do, and for good reason.
Yeah.
You feel ground effect most strongly when you're really close, less than 1 wingspan high, those last few feet. So as you enter that zone, in the flare, you often need to make a conscious, maybe slightly earlier or more definite, reduction in power to counteract that extra lift.
To stop the plane from wanting to climb again or just ballooning.
Exactly. If you don't reduce power appropriately, the aircraft might try to float above your intended touchdown point, making a precise landing really difficult. It's all about managing energy and anticipating that cushion, learning that timing for power reduction is key to smooth arrivals.
Okay, so wrapping this up. Ground effect isn't magic. It's predictable physics. It makes the plane more efficient, close to the ground, reducing drag, affecting lift.
Right.
But that comes with critical considerations for takeoff speeds and potential floating during landing, plus that weird airspeed indication issue.
You've nailed it. And for the student pilot, understanding it isn't just, academic. It's about anticipating how the aircraft will behave near the runway.
Preventing those nasty surprises.
Exactly. Avoiding that takeoff trap, achieving those smooth, controlled landings, it builds confidence, it builds precision, and fundamentally makes you a safer, more competent pilot. It turns those, whoa, what was that, moments into, okay, I expected that.
Makes perfect sense. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening, especially as you keep learning. Ground effect is a fantastic example of how the immediate environment, literally the ground beneath you, directly changes how your aircraft flies. So think about this. What other environmental factors, maybe less obvious ones, might be subtly influencing your aircraft's performance? And how could understanding those help you refine your skills even further as a pilot? Something to ponder on your next cross-country planning session.
That's it for this episode. Keep your wings level, your brain sharp, and catch you next time in the pattern. Thanks for riding with Propeller Breeze.